Welcome to Canada, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
U.S. President Joe Biden and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Friday pledged to stand together in friendship and against authoritarian regimes from Russia to Iran to China.
Because of our shared prosperity is deeply connected to our shared security. In the past years have proven that Canada and the United States are not insulated from the challenges that impact the rest of the world. The world needs Canada and the United States working together with our partners around the world to rally strong and effective global action.
Biden addressed the Canadian Parliament on his visit to Ottawa and remarked on the neighbors' shared values and culture.
Americans and Canadians are two people, two countries, in my view, sharing one heart.
He did, however, make one provocative remark about a Canadian hockey team.
I have to say, I like your teams except the Leafs.
The two leaders affirmed their commitment to support Ukraine as the war-torn country battles against Russia's invasion and vowed to build up North American competitiveness in the face of economic challenges from China.
With growing competition, including from an increasingly assertive China, there's no doubt why it matters that we turn to each other now to build up a North American market on everything from semiconductors to solar panel batteries.
Ahead of their meeting, the two countries also reached an agreement updating a treaty aimed at stopping asylum seekers traversing the U.S.-Canada border via unofficial crossings.
Donald Trump's attorney, Evan Corcoran, appeared Friday before a federal grand jury in Washington, investigating the former president's retention of classified documents after he left the White House in January 2021. One of a series of investigations that swirl around Trump as he seeks the Republican nomination to run for president again in 2024.
America's comeback starts right now.
The Justice Department's investigation, led by Special Counsel Jack Smith, is looking into whether Trump improperly took classified documents as he left office and obstructed the government's efforts to retrieve the sensitive materials. U.S. media outlets previously reported that Smith's office was seeking court approval to compel Corcoran's testimony, citing evidence that Trump intentionally misled his attorneys about his retention of classified materials at his Florida Mar-a-Lago resort. Corcoran sought to block enforcement of the subpoena, citing attorney-client privilege, but a federal judge, as reported by ABC, ruled that Smith's team had made a sufficient showing that attorney-client privilege could not be used. Elise Maisel, an assistant professor at NYU Law School, explains there are few instances when this can come into play.
The first category is where the client has provided misinformation, has lied to the lawyer, and the lawyer has then made representations to either a court or to a government regulator that reflect those misrepresentations. So that's one category. Another category would be where the lawyer is an active co-conspirator in a fraud. They say, let's do this. Let's use this tool of obfuscation to get around the law here. And then the third category, and this is one that's probably not relevant here, is when the lawyer sort of goes rogue and commits fraud on their own.
Last May, Trump received a grand jury subpoena ordering him to turn over all classified documents still in his possession. In response, attorneys representing Trump, including Corcoran, handed over a single envelope containing 38 documents with classified markings, and in a certification attested they had thoroughly searched the premises and found no other records bearing classification markings. That claim later proved to be false, after the FBI discovered 100 additional classified records among some 13,000 government documents in its August 8th search.
On TikTok, we made a similar decision to the American government and others when we said that we do not feel that the security profile is safe for government-issued phones. There are concerns around privacy and security, and that is why we have banned TikTok from government-issued phones. But your question, Josh, was about what I do as a parent of teenagers and my kids on social media. And on that, I am obviously concerned with their privacy and their security, which is why I'm glad that on their phones that happen to be issued by the government, they no longer access TikTok. That was a big frustration for them. Really? This applies to us too, Dad? Yes, I just did that. But I think as parents, we are understanding, particularly of teenagers, just how much of our kids' lives are lived online and how much they are impacted, not just by influence the way their friends are and peer pressure that all of us went through as teenagers, but a degree of misinformation, disinformation, and malicious activity that is allowed for by incredible advances in technology that we are benefiting from in so many different ways. Our concerns around TikTok are around security and access to information that the Chinese government could have to government phones. It's just a personal side benefit that my kids can't use TikTok anymore that I recommend everyone to use my encouragement to try and do.
I was skiing and looking downhill as you do, and I was skied directly into by Mr. Sanderson. I was skiing and two skis came between my skis, forcing my legs apart, and then there was a body pressing against me, and there was a very strange grunting noise. So my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. I thought, is this a practical joke? Is someone like doing something perverted? This is really, really strange. My mind was going very, very quickly, and I was trying to ascertain what was happening.
And then you said to him, I think you don't know if you were up or if you were still on the ground, but he was still on the ground, right?
Yes.
When you said, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
Okay. Like, why did you do that?
Yes.
And he said, "I think you skied into me."
Yes.
And that's when you were furious and said, "You skied directly into my effing back." At the top of your lungs.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I apologize for my bad language. Mr. Sanderson categorically hit me on that ski slope, and that is the truth.
And I'm sure that that's what you believe. I'm not saying
because it's the truth.
I'm not saying that.
Russian car buyers have some new brand names to get their heads around. Chinese makers have rushed in to fill the gap left by Western firms that have pulled out. That leaves shoppers to learn about companies like Haval and Geely. So far, the welcome is wary at best. Car buyers Reuters spoke to were unsure about the quality of the new offerings. At the price they're charging, the plastics look cheap, says one man. Auto journalist Sergei Aslanyan says that reflects a Russian perception that Chinese products are down market.
If a person in Russia wants to put somebody down, they will say that, hey, you have a Chinese phone or your car is Chinese. At the moment, people are not that hungry to show demand for Chinese products. We need to end up like Cuba first, to turn into pedestrians over the years. And then maybe we will lower the expectations enough for Chinese cars.
Sales figures tell a different story though. Chinese brands now have almost 40% of Russia's car market, up from less than 10% early last year. The main driver may be the simple fact of availability. In the eastern city of Vladivostok, Vladimir sells Western and Chinese brands.
In light of all the recent events, we mostly rely on Geely sales now. But we continue to sell Mercedes cars. Some of them are bought via parallel import. Some are leftover stock from before.
Russians increasingly have little choice, with most Western brands already gone. Volkswagen's Skoda unit is currently in the final stages of negotiating a deal to sell its assets. The departure of such firms was one factor in a near 60% slump in total car sales last year. For many buyers, that means it may soon be a case of go Chinese or catch the bus.